Right, so you made it to the next lesson. Let's delete any geometry you've got. Things should now be a lot clearer. Okay, so everything from now on will make a lot more sense, believe me. So we've looked at the lines, the different kinds of lines. Circles, well, you have a center point circle, which is where you click a center and draw your diameter. Okay, so center point, first click is your center, and then diameter. You can type it in, okay, or you might choose to just draw it roughly by eye and then put your dimension on by hand and then type in. Okay, whichever way you do it, it's up to you. Again, whichever way you get used to. We can have this tangent circle. So let's suppose we have 3 lines. We want a circle that's going to touch all of them. Okay, so we can go tangent circle. We'll select our 3 lines and it will automatically calculate and input a circle touching those 3 lines. And again, you can see all it's done is automatically put these tangent constraints on. And we have an ellipse. So an ellipse, first point is the center. The next point is the end point of the ellipse, and then by moving your mouse you can drag out where you want your ellipse to be. Okay, that's fairly self-explanatory. We actually ended up with a horizontal constraint as we drew that, which is interesting. But there you go, there's your ellipse. That's fairly self-explanatory. Just follow along with this, but also feel free, pause the video and draw some more or click on some more. Do as many as you need to get used to how they work and how the series of clicks work. It's all left clicking. 1, 2, 3 clicks. Okay, but just do as many times as you need for these, just to get used to them. There's no point me showing you over and over again. You can pause the video, rewind it if you need to see it again, or just pause it and draw a few. The best way for all of these to get used to all these commands is to create them yourself. Okay, arc we've looked at, first point, end point, and then where is the middle. Either type in a radius or click. We have a pull down here. Arc tangent, so that means if you're coming off a line, you can go arc tangent, and you see when I click on the end point here, it highlights the line. And now as we draw our arc, it's keeping the beginning tangential to this line here. Okay, and we can still tell it an angle and a radius. Okay, and we can still tell it a radius, but now it's asking for an angle. So because it's already, the beginning point of this arc is fixed, so in order to set the end point, it needs an angle. There. Okay. Then we have arc center point. So this works like a circle. And it lets us draw the arc. Okay. Again, you can type in the command, the measurements in the box, or you can just draw it and then dimension it after. Rectangle, we've looked at 2-point rectangle. We've looked at the center rectangle, a 3-point rectangle. Okay, it works similarly to the 2-point. The 2-point was one corner and then another. 3-point is, it's going to like draw the base of the rectangle and then draw the height of the rectangle. Okay, it's just different ways to draw it. Most people use 2-point or the center. The center is good for making sure you're on symmetry and clicking on the origin point. 3-point center. So this is kind of a mixture between the two. This is quite a new one in Inventor. So you click the center, you click the width of the box, and then you click the height of the box or rectangle. So I suppose that would come in handy sometimes. It's not something I've ever used, I don't think. I tend to use the 2-point and the center. Now slots, these are good. I used to draw these. I used to draw them by doing 2 circles and connecting them up and then trimming them out. But you can actually just draw a slot. So first of all, you click your line and then you click your width. Now I'll show you what I used to do. I used to draw a circle. If I wanted to create that geometry, you draw a circle, draw another circle aligned to the midpoint, and then you can see the construction out, so it's the same width. And then you'd connect up the lines, you'd make sure they're tangential, and you'd trim it out. Okay, but now I don't know when this actually, which version of Inventor this came in. It's probably been in years, and I just never noticed it. But I noticed it fairly recently and started using it, and it saves a lot of time. These slots, you do use them quite a lot, especially in things like plates, when you're doing fixing plates and that kind of thing. You don't want a hole because it might not exactly line up, so you use a slot instead. And there's a few different ways of drawing the slot. So one we just used, which is the center point of each circle and then a width. And you can have an overall. So the difference here is, depending how, a lot of things you draw in Inventor, you'll be drawing from someone's sketch, and you're relying on them to have kind of mapped it up or measured it up properly. Something like a slot, they might have measured this line, they might have measured from a center to center, which would be difficult actually to measure something like that. There's a good chance they would have measured from the outer side of the circle to the outer side, which is this one, and that's why it gives you the option to draw it overall. So if it was measured that way, you can draw it that way, or if you had center to center, then you could draw it center to center. Okay, so that's why you get the different options really for that. And then we have center point. So center point is the center of the whole operation. So if you wanted, I suppose you'd use this if you had a hole, a normal circular hole, but you wanted to elongate that into a slot, you would know a center point. And then you might say, well, actually I want it to be what? Elongated. Okay, like that. So you start in the center, and where there might have been a hole before, you can start in the center and you can make a slot. Just different ways of drawing the same thing. Actually, before I delete that, and I'll just show you again, it is just a collection of lines, curves and constraints that have automatically been produced by Inventor. And we can do a slot which is an arc. Okay, draw it like an arc and then give it a slot. So that would have taken quite a few commands to draw. You would have had to have a certain, your arcs and your radius and your circles, that kind of thing. It just does it for you, and then it constrains it all up. And this is the same, but it draws it more like a circle. Okay, there you go. Play with these again, click on them, get used to using them. Polygon. So polygon will ask you how many sides. Okay, so if you wanted 8-sided polygon, you just click 8. You click on the center point and then drag it out. Okay, and look at all those constraints. Okay, you probably notice it gave us 2 options here, inscribed and circumscribed. So what do they mean? coming from a CAD background, it's probably more familiar. But let's just say, as often happens if you're drawing a polygon like that, your set out geometry is a circle. Okay. So if we draw a polygon, and we'll keep it 8-sided, we're going to start from the center, and we want to go out to this circle. Inscribed means it's inside the circle, so the point of a polygon is on the circle and the lines are inside. Okay, if we clicked that one there, which is circumscribed, you can see it puts the midpoint of a line, so it's kind of outside the circle. I hope you can see that. I hope that makes sense. It's just two different ways. Again, it would depend how that had been marked out or how it had been measured, which one you choose to use.